Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think it's time for more DVD and Blu-ray updates. But before we go anything further recently, I just kind of want to mention there have been some kind of comments people have been sending me. I mean, I'm very thankful people are sending nice, neat comments through you guys. But, you know, for what it's worth, I just want to say thank you for supporting the show, for supporting me to continue doing what I do. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to basically just talk about this kind of this little summary about which people send me comments and basically ask me questions a bit about certain collection stuff I need to pick up. But I've been focused on collecting more DVDs and Blu-rays much as often, and I'm trying to get back to getting into the superhero DVD and Blu-ray form of DVD and Blu-ray movies, and certain TV shows I actually really have seen for dirt cheap at Walmart, and occasionally certain areas of video rental stores. And really, as a comic book fan myself, I personally enjoy some very awesome, pretty well sensitive characters, like, for instance, Superman, who is the Man of Steel, Batman, who is the Dark Knight. But this one typical character who is sort of like the everyday man who goes with problems, money, girls, job, life, school, the whole, everyday life that we all live in and personally enjoy ourselves to continue living our life. But what makes him so great is because he's evolved so much of just, how can I say, more as a superhero. He's an everyday man. He's an average, young man who can just deal with the problems that everybody, would have to do. I'm really, of course, talking about none other than the spectacular, the ultimate, and the most specifically amazing for everybody to know who he is, Spider-Man. So, what kind of Spider-Man goodies I got for myself? Well, you're just going to have to wait until when we come back today on Amber's Multimedia Reviews. Back. Oh, you probably why not change shirts? Well, I just feel in the mood to just, kind of change shirts for a bit and show my support of the Spider-Man, those fans out there originally. Well, if you probably remember probably a couple of months ago, in the late year, I guess a couple of months ago, when I was talking two shows that really became pretty interesting, which is basically the first one I'm going to show you, which you already know of. I'll put the link in the description down below so you can check that out, which basically these two. This is the Spider-Man 1967 collection of all, I think there was, all 52 episodes. And you got 13 episodes of the new Spider-Man anime series starring Neil Patrick Harris, which is a pretty well explanatory. While Neil Patrick Harris, he does play Spider-Man and Peter Parker very well simultaneously. And he's pretty well okay after the play the role version. But I actually had across some other Spider-Man stuff, which I had in my collection, and some of them I have bought in my collection. So the first up, I will show you that I'm a really fan of all the Spider-Man cartoons that came out in the late 60s and late 2000s. But the one show I really enjoy is the 1994-95 Spider-Man anime series, which they actually spread out to basically for 4 volumes. So the first one I will show you of, and this is actually a pretty more catharsis for any Spider-Man fan out there, was just this one, Spider-Man and the Ultimate Show Villain Showdown. Now, what's so special about this DVD edition? Well, it's had all 4 episodes of the original Spider-Man animated series from the late 90s. What I like about it is just basically just a sample of 4 episodes from the 90s show, and you get a little bit of taste of the 60s Spider-Man cartoons. And you get 1 episode for the 1960s, and you get 4 episodes of the 90s series. So they spread out to 4 volumes, which is basically this one, The Ultimate Showdown, Daredevil faces Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Return of the Green Goblin, Spider-Man faces Doc Ock, and finally, I think they did 4 volumes of these versions simultaneously, and finally, Spider-Man and the Venom Saga. So they spread out to 5 volumes, and I got them all basically for dirt cheap, which at Walmart. These are retailing about, I think, about $9 for 5. I pretty well got a pretty good discount version for my Walmart account, and I was very happy to get all 5 volumes. I never really kind of particularly liked the Venom Saga because I do enjoy the episodes, which of the black costume saga, which is pretty much just showing the elements of basically of the red and blue between the black and white Spider-Man suit that the symbiote takes over Peter and his OG ego Spidey, along with it makes him become a little bit more strong, a little bit more powerful. But anyway, when I got these, which were at Walmart, they were doing a Spider-Man bidding bin at Walmart, so I actually had enough money, which is to get all 4 volumes. I mean, all 5 volumes, which is simultaneously. The 4th one is probably the 5th one is probably close towards 5 or 9, usually. So it wasn't that too bad. So you might want to check and see what's inside the cases. So I'll show you the Ultimate Showdown, or the Ultimate Villain Showdown, that manner. And on the back, you gotta listen to the episodes. Sorry about my light. It's hard to really get a nice. There we go. That's it. Okay. And then we open it up, we just basically have just a singular disc. Nice picture. Turn for special features, we have the 1967 classic episode, The Origin of the Spider-Man, with information about creation of Stan Lee, featuring the original theme song, which is basically everybody's favorite. I mean, that theme song is so everywhere on YouTube so much, and I don't know why. But anyway, moving on, we have Rogue Scenari, a little line which is Spider-Man's most evil villainous, I guess you call it. Stan Lee's softbox is actually just like an interview of Stan Lee talk about his basically history about how he created Spider-Man and all that stuff, which is pretty well like a documentary interview, stuff like that on this DVD, which is pretty interesting. And then you got cool animated menus, which is just a pretty well awesome menu stuff, which that you could look at, certain animation stuff, pretty interesting. And you got Spanish language track. So that's pretty much it. This one. Daredevil faces Spider-Man. We have. I guess I gotta show you the front and the back. Yeah, there you go. And open it up. Same again. Nice artwork. This pretty cool. And during for special features, we have a classic 1966 bonus episode, the Kingpin, featuring the Kingpin. That's the Spider-Man 1960s cartoon. The Fantastic Four bonus episode featuring Daredevil, Stan Lee's softbox, and a Spanish language track, and that's pretty much it. Then we'll go to the Return of the Green Goblin. I will put these videos which in high def, which are just a bit, just to give you guys a nice picture quality of how it looks, so whatever. And you got one look at what's inside it into this scene, okay. Just the same thing as the disc artwork from the front cover. Okay, there's a special feature. We have a bonus episode from featuring the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus. Rogues challenge. That's a game challenge that just like basically in the Ultimate Villain Showdown. The only difference is it's like a point-and-click game, which I kind of like it, just like a trivia. But this one's actually pretty well fun because you can actually, ask the typical questions of each villain, who is probably the baddest and who's probably the worst versus the accomplishment. It's like a trivia game, but it's very well, not as a challenge game, but it's very well complex game when you play it. But if you play it like I am, about a couple of times, you will probably get a little bit of growth snappers. And then also we got another Stan Lee softbox, again, just to interview him, just basically his thoughts about creating Spider-Man, how he basically creates story vision and all his basic creations, which is, nothing too exciting. And then we go to Spidey faces Doc Ock. I love this picture of him. I've seen Spidey along with Doc Ock. I didn't personally like the Doc Ock's costume in this version. I thought it was too kind of like, I don't know. It just kind of complex picture to me. I don't know. It's just kind of weird picture. So yeah, but for what it's worth, it's pretty interesting. So I'll give you a nice picture of the stuff. And you want to see what's inside of this are. Just a standalone. Just again. In terms of special features, we have another classic bonus episode from the 1967, Power of the Doctor Octopus, Sub-Zero for Spidey, featuring Doc Ock, a softbox Stan Lee interview, five exclusive episodes, including by Stan Lee. And yeah, all these dishes are included basically 5 exclusive episodes of him just explaining about the episodes. It's just basically him just talking about the episodes simultaneously, so it's really nothing that special. Preview of the Spider-Man Venom saga. Yeah, that's a pretty well kind of dull trailer, Richard. It just looks like a snippet trailer for just to continue on basically these DVD compilations of Spider-Man, which is pretty much interesting. And then we have animation menus. We have French and Spanish language tracks, so you get both French and Spanish simultaneously. So if you want it, never go get it. I don't know if they actually sell these versions much anymore. Versions at Walmart. I think they start carrying them. You could probably find these versions at Best Buy or any kind of like online store you can find it. But I actually find these for dirt cheap anyway. So if you want it, you better go get it. And then finally we have, oh wait a minute, I think I did, yeah, I did show you, okay. And finally we have the Venom saga, which I actually like the cover originally, Spidey and Venom faces split in two, which is pretty interesting. And on the back, just a few sample features, scenes, Venom, Spidey. It's just really just kind of weird originally that we don't see Spider-Man in the animated series, the 90s series, be in DVD form, which is pretty well sad originally because they actually did these in 5 volumes, and I'm surprised that they only even try to do it like a complete series. So turn for the special features, we have Stan Lee softbox once again. We have 5 exclusive episodes, including by Stan Lee. The Venoms of weapons, the Venom origin is revealed by his creations, and then finally we have Spanish language track. So what I like about the Venom origin revealed, it's actually pretty well centered along interview with the creator. I forgot what the creator was originally, but I'll probably remember his name originally when I put the titles for you. But it's pretty well interesting because he actually was explaining how he created Venom, how the Venom suit that bonds with Peter and how he's capable of more strength and powerful than ever he before. So yeah, I just think that was pretty well kind of fun, Richard, because Venom is actually pretty much the most badass character than any other villain in the Spider-Man universe. I mean, yeah, Doc Ock and Green Goblin, they kind of sort of really just kind of give Spidey a little edge or something. But Venom, he's the kind of character that just will rage and probably do anything to just kill. I mean, he just basically has that urge to just basically have a hatred for Spider-Man. So I enjoy that because, I like to see the hero have a combination villain that is hard to beat and actually be very well compatible to just to defeat it or whatever. Then we go to some of the movies I actually bought on DVD and Blu-ray. The first two I will mention. Well, the reason why I have both of these movies on DVD and Blu-ray is because of the package art and the nice cover art. Which first we're going to start off with basically Spider-Man 1 on DVD and Spider-Man 2 on Blu-ray. And the reason why I have these two, the reason why I have these on both, is I like the cover and especially I like the disc art version. But compared for this, everything on here is a duplicate onto the DVD edition. But here's just some things you probably won't get on the DVD edition, and including you get a CD, you get a DVD-ROM, PC game of the two, some kind of, you get like a PC game with 2 compatible levels. You also get 3 exclusive Marvel.com comics, featuring with Spider-Man Blue #1, Black Cat #1, and Peter Parker: The Return of the Goblin. And I think you get Spider-Man Visual version on this edition. So compared for this version, everything is completely inside of this Blu-ray edition. So you're not really missing much. You get everything basically onto the DVD version. But the reason why I kept the DVD version is because I like the package art, and I thought it was pretty cool version. So I actually bought this version when it came out on VHS. When I knew the DVD was about to take over VHS and Laserdisc and that matter. And I really wanted to basically have it back in my collection because, like I said before, the Spider-Man movies are okay. I mean, I know a lot of people really hate Spider-Man 3. Personally, I thought Spider-Man 3 was fine, but it wasn't spectacular or amazing. It was just basically just really horrible for what you've seen in the other two versions. But the compare for basically in Spider-Man 1 is how in the world they basically just create the Green Goblin's costume. I mean, they try to, if you look at the DVD or the Blu-ray version, you can actually look at the complex arts of the Green Goblin's costume, how you look directly in the mask and everything. And what they come up with is basically this one right here, the Power Ranger look-alike Green Goblin suit, which is so embarrassing. I mean, it's not bad, Richard. He does speak. He does talk through the mouth, Richard, barely. But the mouth is pretty much wide open. And the only thing I have a disagreement with that is because, well, that was best they can come think of. I mean, if you're trying to make a Spider-Man movie or any kind of this, at least just try to make it more kind of like in the comic book, or try to make it seem like they're trying to make it realistic, because that's that they're doing realistic superhero style. But I just hate that version. I think that's just really kind of like, if you're gonna take based on a comic book character, at least just try to give it more some depth and some ideas for saying, keep it in the original. But this is the best that they can think of. So basically on the Blu-ray versions, and compare for this, you're getting the same content as everything on the DVD. But the only difference I like about the edition is it has a different artwork. Like you have Green Goblin on the right, on the left side, and you have Spidey on the right. So I think it says 1, which is by the line, and on the back it's the lower basically feature back. Let me just get a little bit closer. Sorry about my glare originally. Yeah. I just hate the spies with that costume right there originally. I mean, it's not bad. It's just, I just think that's the only thing they can think of originally to make the suit more realistic. I mean, the Spider-Man suit for when Tobey was putting it on, it was fine. It was really kind of, relate to the colors and shit. But I don't know. It just kind of bugged me originally seeing that suit. So inside, got a slip cover, nice shiny slip cover, just a DVD case, and they both are the same contents with different pictures. And then if we go inside, we got a nice disc art of that. So there you go. Then if we take this out, there we go. And we got a picture of Green Goblin in his Power Ranger suit. Yeah. A lot of people say it's more like a Power Ranger, the Green Ranger suit. I personally kind of like that, but to give it some thought, it is okay, Richard, if you're trying. But if you look at the content arts in both of these editions, you will kind of look at the Green Goblin's great adventures that they tried to make it more kind of like in the comic book style, with a nice pointy hood, which on the side, which on the back, on his head, and a nice really more pointy goblin ears, which is that nice. But this is how they basically come up with. So I don't know. I enjoy the Spider-Man movies, but they're just, they're just basically they're not really masterpieces. They're just basically silly, straightforward superhero movies that you're trying to make it more realistic or whatever, which is something like that. But yeah, I personally think that was pretty well fine. But I like to see a new kind of like a humor to it because, deep down, Tobey Maguire, he plays Peter Parker fine, but when he plays Spider-Man, I know this basically just a stunt double, but when he plays Spider-Man, he just stays silent. He does have some punchlines, but I don't know. I just can't see that originally. I don't know. But maybe when I see the new Spider-Man movie, I would probably do it basically about the actors play the role and everything. And of course, basically, I will do a review of it, my own thoughts about it. But yeah, I would definitely do that. And then we got the DVD edition. Same thing, just basically the same features. Nothing spectacular. The only thing that about the DVD edition is that you get more bunch of stuff, and I don't know if they're still continuing doing the DVD-ROM release, so that's pretty much a letdown right there. So we open it up. We have a wonderful disc arts, both Spidey and the Green Goblin in their costumes. And just to be sure, we have a kind of nice little brochure clipping of Spidey hanging onto the flagpole, and you get a information of the I guess the circuit on wireless phones. I never seen those originally since right before they were popularity. And then we open up the cover. We have both pictures of basic Spidey and Green Goblin, and you got the chapter list of the movie itself, which is pretty interesting. And I just find that pretty interesting, really. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so that's Spider-Man 1 on DVD and on Blu-ray. Now we'll go to the all-time favorite Spider-Man movies of all time. I actually enjoyed the first one, but the second one was really quite better originally. I mean, a lot of people didn't like the second one because it didn't have much story originally, but it did originally because the idea of seeing Peter Parker going through a lot of changes and a lot of original problems, which everybody days to do originally, and especially for me. I'm more like Peter Parker, which is much as more as like any other character in the comic book. So basically, anyway, we have 3 versions of the Spider-Man 2 movie. The only difference is about the version 1 is that you get the standalone feature, which is in the series. But on Spider-Man 2.1, you get the standard edition of some scenes that haven't been put in theaters. So when they released these 2 versions simultaneously, I was kind of discouraged of watching the theatrical movie. I mean, I didn't really bother watching. Well, I didn't. Well, I have the original, the first one. This is actually the standard edition movie, but I haven't watched the standard edition because, well, for some reason I kind of never got around to it. But I will eventually come around to watching it, and actually, because they actually got a little bit more scenes that they actually cut out from this one right here. But now since they have it on Blu-ray, because like I said before, different artwork, which is pretty interesting. But the reason why I have these 3 versions is because, well, they have different type of artwork, and I don't know, just they have it, which just doesn't have it. Anyway, so like I said before, you have Spider-Man 2, just a standalone edition. Got a bunch of good features, nice artwork with the characters and their performance. I think Alfred Leah played Doc Ock very well, and I don't think there was really no point. And then we have just a 2-disc edition of this set of stuff. Okay, yeah, like that. I mean, the idea of seeing the tentacles in kind of like in the film, it was just really interesting, and a lot of people didn't like that. I personally love it because, for what it's worth, it's just There we go. And what I like about it, it's pretty well considered very interesting because, you know, the tentacles puppeteers were actually really a master to create the magnetic arms that Doc Ock was using in the movie and was in the comic book was pretty interesting. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Doc Ock very much as I'll kind of be on the Richard up there. So this is a 2-disc edition with different covers. So you got Spidey swinging towards New York, spinning his webs, and then you got Doc Ock and Spidey on the cinema train. I actually enjoyed the train sequence. The fight train sequence really interesting because I thought that was pretty well cool, Richard, because it wasn't based on the comic book, but I thought it was really just darn good because you got so much good effects, so much especially stunt work. I mean, it's just really interesting. And then we have the Blu-ray edition where you have the theatrical and the standard edition, which is everything is connected to us here, and you get the same features on the basis of both on the DVDs. Let's see if I can give you a nice picture clip. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a nice picture. And is this a slip cover? Simultaneously, just the same artwork. And if we go inside, we have a nice disc artwork of the disc. And we go inside, basically, what's behind the disc. We have Spidey fighting against Doc Ock on the rooftop of the clock tower, which is pretty interesting, which is pretty cool. Now I don't have Spider-Man 3 on Blu-ray or on DVD. I might well get it, Richard, somehow, but for now I'm just basically just waiting until I have it. Now it comes with basically with the cartoon and also a bonus disc, Richard, that I actually bought from Walmart for dirt cheap, Richard. So I'm gonna bring these out and show you what I have. Like I said before, the cartoons itself are pretty well fun, but they're just too much really good childish. I only have this basically second season. I don't have the first season of this super show, which basically this one, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and they actually spread out pretty basically with 4 volumes. So they have Volume 5, Volume 6, Volume 7, and Volume 8. So volumes 5 to 8, this is Season 2. Now the reason why I have Season 2 was just because I was looking for the complete first season, if they have it. But I will eventually come around and get it, and actually that will be complete of the Spectacular Spider-Man series. But what I like about it, it's very well humored to it. I actually watched it for the very first time when it came on television, and I'm surprised for what it is, and it just pretty interesting, really, to me. And I don't see the purpose of it. I think the only problem is that I guess I can show you basically this is what I'm talking about. I guess the problem was most people that think this was more kind of like the Ultimate series, which is, you know, the Ultimate Spider-Man is now available on television now. But I don't know, I thought this Spectacular series was pretty well good, Richard, because it got that jokey humor to it, and it's pretty well conspended for what it is, because, you know, you gotta have Spider-Man to have some humor and some laughable scenes that you want to have into basically in the Spider-Man universe, which I'd like to see a typical version of Spidey basically have a laughing humor. And then we have Volume 7, which is basically, and then we spread out. So all basically these episodes are 26. The first season was running only 13 episodes, and the second season was running over 26 episodes. So total base of that is 26 episodes for each season. And come and find we have Volume 8. I'm surprised this is actually the end of the series, because it only ran for 2 seasons, and it wasn't getting that much in the audience. I thought it was really damn good. I mean, really, it was just a spectacular Spider-Man show. I mean, really, it's just like you've got the humor based on Peter Parker going to high school and everything. And like I said before, it's just a wonderful show. I definitely recommend for people who want to get it. So if you really want to get Season 1 and 2, definitely pick them up if you can find them. And then finally, I actually picked this up recently at Walmart for dirt cheap for $2.96. Now, this is an exclusive DVD packaging, which you actually get the comic book. You can actually watch a little of the how can I say, the car thief scene in the new Spider-Man movie, the Amazing Spider-Man, which I probably will eventually come around and see it. So I will eventually come around. Which is this one. This is actually the exclusive at Walmart, because you get not only just the disc of the making of the film, but you also get a copy of the original comic. Now let's take it out and show you what it looks like. And because it's hard to really put it in, but this is actually the actual copy, just a printout of the comic. And you got basically different kind of artwork, like we got the lizard and everything. And if we probably go a little bit more further, you'll see more artwork of the lizard and Spidey facing one another. Like so. And if we go to the end of the page, we got Spider and all his amazing villains and foes and just craziness for sure. And that's what I like about Spider-Man, because he's a very well considered character and a very well interesting character that I always in. And then we got this basically the bonus disc of the sneak peek of the new movie. But to my attention, when I was watching the sneak peek, I thought it was pretty interesting. And I don't know, I will let you come around and see the movie. I'm just not really familiar of the new costume that they actually come up with. But for what it's worth, it's fine. So, yeah, I personally think it was great, really. I think people are really coming to I thought originally seeing the car chase, the car thief scene was pretty funny, because I think his name was Actor Griff, whatever his name is. I thought he did a brilliant job when he played the role. But I haven't seen the movie yet, so I will eventually come around and do a review of it. So that's pretty much it of the Spider-Man DVD stuff I just bought for dirt cheap. I will come around getting a couple more Spider-Man stuff, because there have been plenty more Spider-Man movies and TV shows out there that I am familiar with or not really familiar with. And there have been some fan Spider-Man YouTube channels online, which is basically. So I might do a couple videos and reviews of stuff like that. And yeah, definitely looking forward to basically buying a couple more stuff recently. So that ends up with my Spider-Man DVD Blu-ray update review. Personally, yeah, I just enjoy the character, really. I just have no concerns at all with what it is. So that pretty much ends up in the review for now. So until next time, we'll probably do a couple more updates for you guys. Or maybe some spectacular stuff which I like to get for dirt cheaper. I don't know. You just have to wait and see. Alright, so until next time, this is Spiderfan. Thank you for watching, and sayonara. Oh hey guys, I'm just basically finishing it, but I almost forgot to mention, put my glasses off, are there any features on any of these DVDs that I discussed about? Well, we'll go with basically with the cartoon celebration of the spectacular Spider-Man cartoons. Basically on disc 5, you have episode 4. You have episode. What was it? Episode 14. Episode 14 to 17, which is fingerprints, destination testing, revival, striking a stranger, striking. I think it's called Striking Strange. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, you can see the episodes are right in the order, right there. And on volume 6, we have episode 18 to 20, which is the first steps, groups, pairs, and identity citizens, which is volume 6. Sorry about my glare of that. And then on volume 7, we have episode 21 to episode 2, 2023, which is a section, the problem cause, and Gayland. Galen, I can't even pronounce it, but here he is. Here's the episode, so listen with the quarter right there. If I could just show this. There we go. You get a preview of this episodes. And then finally we have on Volume 8, we have episode 24 to 26, which is straight submit title, opening night, and final crampons, which is in Volume 8. And that's the Spectacular Spider-Man Season 2 on 4 volumes. So if you want to get them, you better get them, because I don't know if they still continue to get, they still sell these at Walmart, but if you can find them originally online or basically anywhere your local retail store, or maybe in Best Buy, you definitely earn yourself to get this. I will pick up the complete first season of the Spectacular Spider-Man, and there is 2 features. None of these are based on the features. None of these are how can I say? None of these original have no features on these discs. They're just straight for 4 episodes. But on the complete first season, you actually get 2 bonus features, which is basically Spidey animate, and I think the voice of Spidey, Spectacular Spider-Man, I believe. But if you want to basically pick those up originally, along with that season 2, or season 1, the complete series, then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all of the Spectacular Spider-Man. Then, if we go to here, we have, let's see, how can we do this? I guess we can start off with shit about the movies and stuff, because this is big. So, on the same, as on Spider-Man 2, one we duplicate originally with, where was it? Let me get it. Yeah. On these versions, right here, sorry about the glare. I can't get the glare. Yeah, but right here, these 2, they have the same combination of features based on the DVD. But here on the DVD, they kind of mentioned the one original featurette. You also get a theatrical game tips and tricks of the first ever Spider-Man game released in the theatrical movie, which none of it could duplicate on the Blu-ray. So I recommend you keep the DVD version just for originally just the lighter from a few extras on here, because it is what you get, what you pay for. But here originally you can actually get this version for dirt cheap originally at Walmart, or basically anywhere which you can find originally. But I have seen these for basically about $12. So if you're very well considering getting it, that's fine with me. That's fine if you really are that. And then we go to Spider-Man 2, which is basically the same featurettes, where you get the theatrical version and the extended version. So we can look at folks right here. The theatrical and extended versions, films. Same thing again. You get all the featurettes, and including basically with the DVDs. The reason why I kept the DVDs is because of the nice artwork, and they look pretty cool. They maybe not they don't have slipcovers, but they do have all the features, which is pretty cool. As a matter of fact, I haven't even watched the 2.1 version. I need to probably watch it today version, so I could probably discuss about it version. But yeah, I haven't really watched the theatrical version, so I will come around watching this hopefully. So yeah, Spider-Man 2. Definitely worth picking up. And then, this is actually just a special edition of basically from Walmart. For basically, you could buy this version for $2.96. And I'm surprised with seeing this version on that Spider-Man box bin for basically for $2. Because you only get this basically just a sneak peek of the film itself, and a little bit of clip and a little trailer, that's all that stuff. And it's basically get a copy of the digital of the original comic book. It's a copy. Oop, I guess I need to show you. Yeah. So yeah, that is spectacular. There's a original comic book of the original. I guess I can show you the book since it's basically interesting. I guess I can show you this club right here. Yeah. Created by Stan Lee. Drawn by C. Duco and artist by Arson Sinister. I don't know if I pronounce the name of it, but you know, the whole basically Stanley and C. Duco. So pretty cool, as I do to say myself. Yeah, I will eventually come around to see the Spider-Man movie, the new one, and I will eventually come around and get Spider-Man 3, of course, and the Spectacular Spider-Man, the complete first season. So yeah, that's I guess I put that there. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Definitely sayonara, and definitely I'll see you next time. Welcome back. Oh, you probably why not change shirts? Well, I just feel in the mood to just, kind of change shirts for a bit and show my support of the Spider-Man, those fans out there originally. Well, if you probably remember probably a couple of months ago, in the late year, I guess a couple of months ago, when I was talking two shows that really became pretty interesting, which is basically the first one I'm going to show you of, which you already know of. I'll put the link in the description down below so you can check that out, which basically these two. This is the Spider-Man 1967 collection of all, I think there was, yeah, all 52 episodes. And you got 13 episodes of the new Spider-Man anime series starring Neil Patrick Harris, which is a pretty well explanatory. While Neil Patrick Harris, he does play Spider-Man and Peter Parker very well simultaneously. And he's pretty well okay after the play the role version, but I actually had across some other Spider-Man stuff which I had in my collection, and some of them I have bought in my collection. So the first up, I will show you that I'm a really fan of all the Spider-Man cartoons that came out in the late 60s and late 2000s. But the one show I really enjoy is the 1994 and 95 Spider-Man anime series, which they actually spread out to basically for 4 volumes. So the first one I will show you of, and this is actually a pretty more catharsis for any Spider-Man fan out there, was just this one, Spider-Man and the Ultimate Show Filler Showdown. Now, what's so special about this DVD edition? Well, it's had all 4 episodes of the original Spider-Man anime series from the late 90s. What I like about it is just basically just a sample of 4 episodes from the 90s show, and you get a little bit of taste of the 60s Spider-Man cartoons. And you get 1 episode for the 1960s, and you get 4 episodes of the 90s series. So they spread out to 4 volumes, which is basically this one, The Ultimate Showdown, Daredevil faces Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Return of the Green Goblin, Spider-Man faces Doc Ock, and finally, I think they did 4 volumes of these versions simultaneously, and finally, Spider-Man and the Venom Saga. So they spread out to 5 volumes, and I got them all basically for dirt cheap, which at Walmart. These are retailing about, I think, about $9 for 5. I pretty well got a pretty good discount version for my Walmart account, and I was very happy to get all 5 volumes. I never really kind of particularly liked the Venom Saga, because I do enjoy the episodes version of the black costume saga, which is pretty much just showing the elements of basically the red and blue between the black and white Spider-Man suit that the symbiote takes over Peter and his OG ego Spidey, along with it makes him become a little bit more strong, a little bit more powerful. But anyway, when I got these which were at Walmart, they were doing a Spider-Man bidding bin at Walmart, so I actually had enough money to get all 4 volumes. I mean, all 5 volumes, which is simultaneously. The 4th one is probably the 5th one is probably close towards 5 or 9 usually. So it wasn't that too bad. So you might want to check and see what's inside the cases. So I'll show you the Ultimate Showdown, or the Ultimate Villain Showdown, that matter. And on the back, you gotta listen to the episodes. Sorry about my light. It's hard to really get a nice. There we go. That's it. Okay. And then if we open up, we just basically have just a singular disc. Nice picture. Turn for special features, we have the 1967 classic episode, The Origin of the Spider-Man, with information about creation of Stan Lee, featuring the original theme song, which is basically everybody's favorite. I mean, that theme song is so everywhere on YouTube so much, and I don't know why. But anyway, moving on, we have Rogue Citari, a little line with Spider-Man's most evil villainous, I guess you call it. Stan Lee's softbox is actually just like an interview of Stan Lee talk about his basically history about how he created Spider-Man and all that stuff, which is very well like a documentary interview stuff like that on this DVD, which is pretty interesting. And then you got cool anime menus, which is just a pretty well awesome menu stuff, which that you can look at, certain animation stuff, pretty interesting. And you got Spanish language track. So that's pretty much it. This one. Daredevil faces Spider-Man. We have. Because I gotta show you the front and the back. Yeah, there you go. And if we open it up, same again. Nice artwork. This pretty cool. And for special features, we have a classic 1966 bonus episode, the Kingpin, featuring the Kingpin. That's the Spider-Man 1960s cartoon. The Fantastic Four bonus episode featuring Daredevil, Stan Lee's softbox, and a Spanish language track, and that's pretty much it. Then we go to the Return of the Green Goblin. I will put these videos which in high def, which is just a bit, just to give you guys a nice picture quality of how it looks. So whatever. And you got one look at what's inside it into this scene, okay. Just the same thing as the disc artwork from the front cover. Okay, and special feature, we have a bonus episode from featuring the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus. Rogue's challenge. That's a game challenge that just like basically in the Ultimate Villain Showdown. But the only difference is it's like a point-and-click game, which I kind of like it just like a trivia. But this one is actually pretty well fun because you can actually, ask the typical questions of each villain, who is probably the baddest and who's probably the worst versus the accomplish. It's like a trivia game, but it's very well, not as a challenge game, but it's very well complex game when you play it. But if you play it like I am, about a couple of times, you will probably get a little bit of risk happens. And then also we got another Stan Lee softbox, again, just to interview him, just basically his thoughts about creating Spider-Man, how he basically creates story vision and all his basic creations, which is, nothing too exciting. And then we go to Spidey faces Doc Ock. I love this picture of him. I've seen Spidey along with Doc Ock. I didn't personally like the Doc Ock's costume in this version. I thought it was too kind of like... Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I think it's time for more DVD and Blu-ray updates. But before we go anything further today, I just kind of wanted to mention there have been some kind of comments people have been sending me. I mean, I'm very thankful people are sending nice to me comments through you guys, but for what it's worth, I just want to say thank you for supporting the show, for supporting me to continue doing what I do. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to basically just talk about this kind of this little sundry about people sending me comments and basically asking me questions a bit about certain collection stuff I need to pick up. But I've been focused on collecting more DVDs and Blu-rays much as often, and I'm trying to get back to getting into the superhero DVD and Blu-ray form of DVD and Blu-ray movies. And certain TV shows I actually really have seen for dirt cheap at Walmart and currently certain areas of video rental stores. And really, as a comic book fan myself, I personally enjoy some very awesome, pretty well sensitive characters, like for instance, Superman, who is the Man of Steel, Batman, who is the Dark Knight. But this one typical character who is sort of like the everyday man who goes with problems, money, girls, job, life, school, the whole, everyday life that we all live in and personally enjoy ourselves to continue to live in our life. But what makes him so great is because he's evolved so much of just, how can I say, more as a superhero. He's an everyday man. He's an average, young man who can just deal with the problems that everybody, would have to do. I'm really, of course, talking about none other than the spectacular, the ultimate, and the most specifically amazing for everybody to know who he is, Spider-Man. So, what kind of Spider-Man goodies I got for myself? Well, you're just going to have to wait until when we come back today on Emperor's Multimedia Reviews. I don't know. It just kind of complex Richard to me. I don't know. It's just kind of weird Richard. So yeah, but for what it's worth, it's pretty interesting. So I'll give you a nice picture of the stuff. And you want to see what's inside of this are. Just a standalone. Just again. In terms of special features, we have another classic bonus episode from the 1967. Power of the Dr. Octopus, Sub-Zero for Spidey, featuring the Doc Ock, a softbox Stan Lee interview, five exclusive episodes, including by Stan Lee. And yeah, all these dishes are included basically 5 exclusive episodes of him just explaining about the episodes. It's just basically him just talking about the episodes simultaneously, so it's really nothing that special. Preview of the Spider-Man Venom Saga. Yeah, that's a pretty kind of dull trailer, Richard. It just looks like a snippet trailer for just to continue on basically these DVD compilations of Spider-Man, which is pretty much interesting. And then we have animation menus. We have French and Spanish language tracks, so you get both French and Spanish simultaneously. So if you want it, you never go get it. I don't know. I don't know if they actually sell these versions much anymore. Versions at Walmart. I think they start carrying them. You could probably find these versions at Best Buy or any kind of online store you could find it. But I actually find these for dirt cheaper anyway. So if you want it, you better go get it. And then finally we have, oh wait a minute, I think I did, yeah, I did show you, okay. And finally we have the Venom Saga, which I actually like to cover originally, Spidey and Venom faces split in two, which is pretty interesting. And on the back, there's a few example features, scenes, Venom, Spidey. It's just really just kind of weird originally that we don't see Spider-Man the animated series, the 90s series, be in DVD form, which is pretty sad originally because they actually did these in 5 volumes, and I'm surprised that they only even try to do it like a complete series. So term for the special features, we have Stan Lee softbox once again. We have 5 exclusive episodes, including by Stan Lee. The Venom's of weapons, the Venom origin is revealed by his creations. And then finally we have Spanish language track. So